self-control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes in with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. The claws in my heart, I can't let go, I'm breaking apart, controlling me, controlling me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this fine edition of the Paranormal Portal Bedtime Stories from Beyond. Hope you're having a great night. It's kind of quieter in here tonight. Not a bunch of people in here, but they're coming in. They're coming in. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's something on TV that was, or on the net that's really compelling. I must have missed it, whatever it was. But I would do the show even if only one person was listening. Hell, I'd do it just talking to myself. Which might explain what happens the rest of my day. I'm walking around talking to myself, thinking about ghosts and stuff. But I hope you guys are having a great night. Happy Tuesday evening. Tomorrow, of course, is Wednesday, and it'll be the Mayhem edition of the Paranormal Portal with Don joining me here in the studio. And pretty fun times. I've been enjoying those shows a lot. And we're going to have a good time doing it, I'm sure. So I hope you guys tune in. It's just Tuesday. That's what Pam says. It is just Tuesday. But at least it's another day closer to the next weekend. And around here, this next few days, it's going to get warmer and warmer. So they say. So I don't know about you, but I'm kind of excited. But anyway, I hope you're ready because it's time for bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again. This is the Paranormal Portal Bedtime Stories from Beyond. I am Brent Thomas, and I am thrilled to be here with you doing the show, as always, 7 days a week, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, right here on YouTube. There's always a portal happening, and, it's a good time, but I hope I hope we're not getting to the saturation point where people are like, yeah, it's a Paranormal Portal. Let's go shopping. I hope that's not the case. It's I don't know. I thought doing them every day would be fun for a while, and maybe it is, but maybe it's kind of run its course too. I do believe in the very near future I'm going to have to scale back on the bedtime stories a little bit, just because I've got a lot of new things going on, and I don't know how I'm going to keep doing it all. It's just, driving me batty, but in a good way. I mean, I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I'll toss that around. But if you want to stay up to date on what we're doing on the portal, or if any decisions are being made about the show, definitely make sure that you're following us on Facebook, facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio, because we'll definitely keep you posted there if any changes are forthcoming to the show. But just to put it out there in a verbal sense, I'm kind of considering not doing 7 days a week, because it's just getting to be a whole bunch, and with a lot of new things going on, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep doing it, all of this. So we'll see. I'll do it for as long as I can, for what it's worth. But anyway, 5 days of 4-hour shows. Oh, Haxer, I said it before and I'll say it again. 5 days of 4-hour shows and 2 days off. Wow, that's a hell of a schedule, brother. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I tell you what, when I'm able, not looking like he, yeah, I know. Don said Don stopped in. I don't know that we could do that, but as I said, there's some announcements coming up that will at least help to clarify what's going on. But again, I'm not going to say anything quite yet, because there's a lot of things to work out first, but just some exciting things going on. So we'll keep you guys posted as soon as we can. So anyway, this is the Bedtime Stories, and I'm going to tell you some stories for your bedtime, because that's what I do. That's how I do. So let's see what the first one here is. Okay, the first one is coming out of California. This isn't too long. It's kind of short, but let's get into it. Just about 7 years ago, one of my neighbors told me a story of a house that we had lived in. And we still live in that house today. Okay. She told me that there was an accident that had happened there before. My neighbor had forbidden me to tell anyone about the story that she is going to tell me, and she said to me that she will never tell me the accident in my home or near my home, because the house might hear and might even come after me. I didn't believe her, but I kept her words. Some weeks passed, and I started seeing odd things. One of my first times was seeing a strange woman's shadow at my brother's window. I really didn't suspect anything, and I didn't tell anyone, because I know that no one will believe me. And a couple of days later, my family went to the laundry and left me home alone. And I was sitting on my brother's bed when all of a sudden I saw a shadow. It was a hand no bigger than mine reaching out to grab me, and I jumped off and started cussing that it was nothing. Nothing at all, and that it can't scare me, but saying that was a big mistake. I went to my grandma's house the next weekend, and I was in the bathtub, just turned off the faucet and turned around when all of a sudden the faucet turned itself on. A big fright jumped out of my veins, and I turned around, and there was nothing. I told myself it's okay, but it was not okay. I again turned around, and there it turned itself back on again. I quickly turned around, and there was a hand, no bigger than mine, transparently turning the faucet off. I ran out to tell my grandma, but she said, it's nothing, it's just rats. She said, it's just rats. You have rats that can turn on a tub. You got some skilled rats. I still said nothing to my parents. Months had passed, and still not a word to anyone, but it keeps getting worse. I see ahead of me, and I hear behind my back. Everywhere I go, if there's a corner, I will see a white hand sticking out and waving at me. Every time I go to sleep, it sleeps next to me, snoring, and every time I wake up, it wakes up with me. I tell myself it's nothing. It's probably that I breathe too loud, but it wasn't. I even hold my breath to test it. It just keeps getting worse and worse until I told my mom that I'm getting scared. She was shocked by then, and I told her that I am scared to be by myself and that something uncanny keeps following me. And after that, she called the shaman to help me. And after he helped me, I started being normal. I don't hear or see anything anymore. But strange, uncanny things still happen before another accident occurs. Before my dad passed away, I can hear it breathing loudly on my sister's bed. But after he passed away, I never heard it again. Also, before my grandpa passed away, I can hear two people talking, and I can hear the ritual witchcraft that the shaman uses during their chanting. But a couple of days later, he passed away, and once in a while, it still comes back to haunt me in my dreams. Wow, that's all kinds of weird. I don't know, the whole disembodied hand thing, that's pretty bizarre. I'm not saying it can't be. I know better than that, but that is a strange one. Not sure, ladies and gentlemen, but that's the paranormal for you. I don't know. It's like it doesn't even have to make sense. It just can happen. Strange things can happen. It doesn't have to even have a shred of logic to it. It's just, oh, hey, now there's going to be a foot. Next is a foot. Just a foot. And it's going to walk around kicking things, Just strangeness. But anyway, will everyone please pray good thoughts for Thursday? Yeah, of course, Haxer. We'll be praying. Your bar is a done deal, brother. It's already good. You don't need to worry about such things. It will be just fine. I believe it will. I believe you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, brother. So don't worry about the bar. And yeah, good to see you, Lori and Rob and Deb and Aussie and Haxer, of course. I talked to you already, just to see if I'm missing anything. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this Friday night on the Paranormal Portal, our very own Mrs. Deborah Varner will be joining us to do readings. So please, if you'd like to have a chance to get a reading with Deb, of course, pay attention to the phone number on the screen because you're going to be using that if you'd like to get a reading on Friday's show. But 7 p.m. Pacific time right here on YouTube as well as TFR Live, Deb will be joining us, and she does her thing, and it's an epic journey, a fantastic journey. So we'll be looking forward to that. But again, that's this Friday night, the 19th, I think. Let me look at the calendar. Yes, the 19th. Deb will be among us. Well, she's always among us. Deb is like the nurturing spirit that we all love to have near, but she is going to be on the show on Friday doing readings. So please participate because it is really an epic experience. And Deb also does private readings. So if you're interested in a private reading, you can find her and schedule a reading of your own if you'd rather not do it on the air. And that is Purple Mystic Readings by Deb on Facebook. So go to Facebook and search for Purple Mystic Readings by Deb. Or you can email her at purplemysticreader@gmail.com. So those are your options, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to let you know that the phone lines are open as well tonight, every night on the portal. On these live streaming shows, we have the phones available, and the phone number is 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. So if you have something you'd like to share, by all means, call. Become a part of the portal. I don't know. I've been talking a whole bunch today. Phones and recordings and, oh man. It's been a marathon kind of day, but a cool day. A lot of things coming together. I know I'm really honestly not trying to tease so much about it, but it's just really fun. And perhaps it won't be such as big news for you guys, but I think it's pretty incredible, and it really stands to be, it really stands to push the possibility of the portal growing pretty immensely. So we'll see how it works out, though. I'll certainly give it my all, ladies and gentlemen, because that's just what I want to do. So this one's coming out of California. This one's a bit longer, but not too bad. This is really difficult for me because of the occurrences that transpired when I was in the house I am going to tell you about. When I was about 6, until the time I was about 12, I lived in a house on East Bay of California, and it was the 1980s, and the house had only one previous tenant. It was only 4 years old when my parents decided to buy the house. Nothing seemed strange about the house at first. I slept in a room right across the hall from my parents, and if anything were to happen, I could yell and get their attention. One night, about a year after moving in, me and my parents heard a large thud in the front room of the house. My father went to the front door, keep in mind that the time was about 11 p.m. at night, and when my dad opened the door, there was nobody there. But when he looked down at the doormat, there was a chicken with its head chopped off. Oh, my God. Ugh. My parents, having come from a very superstitious background, knew right away what this was. It was an attempt to invoke evil spirits into the house. We had no idea who would want to do this, but it was obvious that they did not like us much. About a month or two later, I was sleeping in my bedroom, and that's when the occurrences began. I woke up in the middle of the night, and when I look into my closet, I saw a tall woman with a white dress staring into the closet. I was so scared, I thought I was dreaming at first. But I rubbed my eyes and I pinched myself, and I felt the pain and knew that I wasn't dreaming or seeing things. This was real. Instead of yelling, I just went back to sleep. So he's absolutely frightened and scared, but he just decides he's just going to go back to sleep. I don't know. I got to question that logic, because if something's that sideways in your room, it's going to be like, well, all right, good night. I couldn't. I'd be like, well, what the hell's going on? All right. Did I just skip something? Okay. So the next night, I slept with my parents, and I told them the story, and they said maybe it was the voodoo. But even at my age, I was a bit skeptical. I should not have been, because about 3 months after the first incident, I woke up in the middle of the night, and right beside my bed was a woman with her white hair, and her body was transparent, and she looked demonic, and the moonlight was shining right through her. Her hand was reaching out to me, and again, I checked to see if I'm awake, and I was, and I tried to wake my parents up, but they would not wake up after that attempt. I passed out from being so frightened this time. I told my parents what was happening, and they had the house blessed, and this helped for a while, but the occurrences started happening again. This time with everyone in the family experiencing what I did. My sister, who was 16 months younger than me, went into the backyard in the middle of the night to feed our dog, and when she looked up, saw misty forms reaching out towards her. She yelled and ran back in to tell my parents. And other times my whole family would be eating, and a black form would step in front of us and move away, and my parents would say, "Hey, did you see that?" And we would always say yes. And after a while, we got used to those occurrences. However, there were even more terrifying events. My mother, one time, was saying goodbye to a family and friends, and something rubbed up against her and went inside the house. There wasn't anyone there. Another time, my family was having a New Year's Eve party, and on the glass door in the backyard were 3 big knocks. My family and extended family were right in front of the glass door and saw no one on the other side. We looked at the backyard and nobody was there. Sometimes there would be knocks on the front door in the middle of the night, and this really became annoying after a while, and my parents and I stopped answering the door. Another time I got possessed and had no control over my body and began speaking words from my mouth that I had no control over. And my body moved without me being able to control it. And yet, another time, when my uncle was over, I had to sleep by my parents, and I woke up in the middle of the night and looked at the ground and saw something crawling towards me. It looked absolutely evil. I can't describe it other than saying that it was foul looking. The last thing that really impacted me was when I was taking a shower and the water became so hot, I got burned. No matter how much I turned the cold water up, it still was scalding hot. My babysitter, trying to find out what was going on too, And when we looked at the water heater, the heat knob was turned all the way up. In front of the heater were big empty water bottles, and none of them were out of place. That meant that no one physical could have moved that knob. I can't tell you anymore because so many things have happened in that house, and we moved after lived there about 6 years, and until this day I cannot sleep with the light off. I will be traumatized by that place for the rest of my life. If anyone reading this story has similar occurrences, please just move out. Don't stay. It will always be with you and your memories. That's the only reason I am writing this. I think that's pretty good. Pretty good advice. Hey, Jess, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. And I see Pam is there as well. Anybody else come in? I guess I could go through the list, but this list is usually less than impressive. Yeah, I have 4. Haxer, Jess, Lori, and Pam, and myself, of course. But I don't think that's very accurate. Just saying. But everybody that's here, thank you for being here. Hey, Travis, you're not late. You're just, I don't know, in slow motion. I don't know what the hell's going on. That just came out, though, so that's what we're going to go with. All right, the next one I'm going to read you tonight is from California again. It's a California night, ladies and gentlemen. I got a mobility scooter ad on my screen. It's like, I'm tired, but I'm not that tired yet. Wow. All right, from California. This one's not too bad, I guess. I have a story to share with you, and I'll start off by saying that me and my cousin Paul were very close. He was only a year older than I, and we were living close to each other, and our parents always had us in the same soccer teams when we were little. And as we got older, we started going to concerts together. We both really love music, and we both have completely different schedules with work and all. And he had a girlfriend and I had a boyfriend, but we always tried to keep in contact. Paul always made time to see how I was doing, even if I was even if it was over the computer. Last year, I was driving home from work when I got the worst phone call of my life. My mom crying on the phone told me to pull over, and I already knew that something wasn't right, so I screamed for her to let me know what had happened, and she told me that my cousin had gotten into a car accident and had passed away. I flipped. I freaked out. I started punching my car window. I knew I had to pull over and just to breathe, and I couldn't understand that someone so young, only 21 years old, had died. My cousin Paul, who is very close to, had so many questions to ask. I had so many questions to ask, rather. I asked God why. Why did it have to be Paul? Along with a zillion more questions, I just had to accept that it was heaven's gain. So straight to the point now, it was about a month after Paul's accident, the night before my first day of my new job as a custody officer. And the night before, I was very nervous, scared, because I didn't know what to expect. I finally fell asleep, and the next morning I woke up to the most beautiful dream ever. I was sitting on a couch when out of nowhere Paul sits next to me. And I knew he had passed, and I was very surprised to see him, and he looked great. Big smile, even looked as though he had lost some weight. And some people say after death people are more healthy looking, and I told Paul that I missed him so much and that I love him, and I also asked him how heaven was, and he replied, "Man, it's great. It's really amazing. I just have a lot to do." I then asked him if he hurt when he died, and his reply was a smile, and he said, "Nope." I'm glad to hear that, and I had one more question to ask him, the most important one I had. I asked him if he was going to be there when it was my turn to pass on, and he looked at me and said, "Duh, fool," and nudged my arm. It was something he always did to me while he was alive, and after my questions, he disappeared. I woke up the next morning and told my mom right away, and I know it was more than a dream, that it was my cousin telling me he was all right and for the rest of the family not to worry. Let's just say after his visit, I wasn't nervous at all about my new job anymore. I actually went in with a smile, and I know my story was a bit long, but I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I did. I like that. That was really nice. It's nice to think that they're there. It comes up about every night that someone has a loved one pass away and that loved one comes and visits them. And I think those are really amazing stories. I never get tired of hearing them. It's just that reassurance I think we all need in that moment because death is so painful. It's the great illusion, right? People are here, then they're gone. And all we have is holes. And it's hard to understand, but it's a journey. Life is a journey, right? I'm going to sound like a coffee cup, but but life is a journey. And, some people just get done with their journey earlier than the rest of us, and we're just left to go, what the hell? So good for them, I guess. Maybe we should be celebrating those people. It's like, yeah, you did it. You made it. Good for you. I don't know. The next one is from Arizona, ladies and gentlemen. This one's for you, Jess. See what's going on in Arizona. Excuse me. This happened in 2005, and this is true as I tell it. In 2005, I became a fan of the famous movie star Rosalind Russell. I love her in the movie musical Gypsy, and one of my favorite songs from that show that Rose sings, Rosalind's character, is Everything's Coming Up Roses. Well, one day I decided to interpret the role of Louise while my mom was at work and I was home alone. And when it came to the line, now is your inning, stand the world on its ear, I swear I felt someone wrap their arms around me. I even had the fan off, and when it came to another line, I felt someone's hand in mine, and then I saw someone identical to Rosalind. Another day I wanted to know if I was imagining the whole Rosalind thing that day, and I held my hand out, and then I felt a hand, very cold, like ice in the Antarctic, in my hand, and I didn't see anyone, but I just felt the hand. This year of 2007, I was on the computer surfing, and all of a sudden I heard the door shut. My mom wasn't there, neither was my grandma or grandfather. I have a cat, but there could be no way that she could have done it. Was it the spirit of Rosalind Russell that caused all of this, or just a random ghost? I'd like to know. I don't know if anybody can answer that for you. That's a tough one, but, if that's what you need it to be, then grab onto that, but who knows? So the next one is Massachusetts. We're getting a story from Massachusetts. Oh, man, this is a long story night. Oh, my God. I've been up since like 3:30. Man, it's a long day. Excuse me a sec. There I go, better. All right, Massachusetts, ladies and gentlemen. We had this dog when I was a kid, and her name was Rags, and she was fairly ancient by the time I was 11, and so old, in fact, that I wasn't even surprised when she finally passed. For years afterwards, as I cowered underneath the covers in my childhood bedroom, I could hear the soft clicking of her nails on the linoleum kitchen floor. My parents always told me that it was the result of an overactive imagination. Of course, that was the explanation they offered when I was age 16 and still slept every night with the covers over my head. If it says it wasn't just Rags that made me feel afraid in their house, it was everything else. Little noises and sounds for as long as I could remember. I'd wake up because someone would say my name right in my ear, so loud it would jolt me from my sleep. Was I dreaming? As I grew older, it became easier to write these things off as silly childhood fears, and for several years I made do with just that. When I turned 22, I moved into a new apartment with my boyfriend, and soon began to experience what's that same feeling again. I couldn't explain it quite right. I just felt empty and wrong. After years of feeling secure, the feeling had returned. Often nights I would spend laying on my back in bed watching a shadow move precariously back and forth in front of the bedroom door. Eventually I began waking up to the feeling of fingers poking and prodding into my legs and breath in my ear. One night I was sitting on my bed talking to my boyfriend, and we both heard the word hello come from a male voice in the living room. There was nobody there upon investigation. My cats began to act very strangely and out of character, and one night I sat on the couch. I was home alone, and I heard the unmistakable sound of someone sitting down in my office chair. The slow squeak of it rocking back and forth, and both my cats were on the couch with me, so I knew that neither of them could be doing it. I finally moved out of that apartment. I hated it. The way it felt. I moved into a new apartment that feels a lot better, but strange things still happen. Doors had begun closing on a day when no windows are open, and not even closing but slamming shut as I walked by them. One night I woke up and could swear I saw a little boy standing at the foot of my bed. One morning my boyfriend reported that the night before he'd been woken up and he thought I was kneeling at the foot of our bed, but when he turned out to look at where the empty space should be, I was laying there sleeping. One evening, watching television with my friend Olivia. I'm really sorry. I was watching television with my friend Olivia. We had quite the scare. We were watching some show, and for no obvious reason, Olivia stood up from the couch and walked over to the door and stood there. She simply stood there and continued watching TV. 2 seconds later, a loud bang echoed from the wall right behind where she'd just been sitting. And to this day, she can't remember why she stood up and walked across the room. So I don't know, am I haunted? Or is it just the results of an overactive imagination? Yeah, that's hard to tell. Could very well be. Spirits will latch onto a person. That's not even rare, really. I mean, it's just maybe something about the person, maybe a resonance. You may remind them of a grandparent or grandson or grandchild. If they were once human, you might just have a great energy and they like to be around you. It's kind of like the same thing. Like if you're an empath, the narcissist will always follow you because they love that energy. And you know, perhaps it's the same for spirits. If they're narcissistic as well, maybe they latch onto the empaths. So it's just a thought, but I think there's something to that. Okay, this one is from Utah. This one's nice and short, which is good because I'm really slow tonight. We moved into our house 6 years ago in a small town called Hooper. It was a small farm town settled by pioneers in 1849. Our house was built for us, and the land is an old hayfield with no known paranormal history. And I've searched online and in the library for any abnormal history without any luck. Recently, there have been some strange activities in the house, and here are the latest 3. My wife and I were in the bathroom taking a shower, and I don't know why that made me laugh, but it did. The light switch is across the room, and I was standing in front of the shower door, rinsing my hair so my wife could not pass without bumping into me. The door was locked so no one could come in, and the light switch is a dimmer switch, and she responded, the dimmer switch. And when I opened my eyes, the lights in the dimmer switch were much brighter. And I asked my wife if she turned it on, and she responded, no, I saw it move by itself. Another time I was in the shower alone, the door was locked, and I turned around just in time to see the dimmer switch move up by itself. The lights, the dimmer, were all turned on all the way, and they were brighter than I have ever seen them. After the shower, I tested the switch, and it appeared to work normally. It's not loose and takes some pressure to slide the switch on. The second one is my wife was home with my oldest, and they heard footsteps walking around on the back deck. They looked out the window and couldn't see anything, and we live on an acre, so no one could come up on the porch and run off without being seen. And they investigated around the house and the lot. There's no trees, and they didn't see anyone. The third one is we have wood floors in our house. One night, I heard footsteps run across them, and I shouted for the kids to go back to bed, and the footsteps stopped and then started again. I got up to see which kid was wandering around, and they were all fast asleep. I sat back down and heard the steps run back and forth for about 10 minutes. The steps repeated over and over like someone was lost, looking for something. Crazy. This one's from Ohio. This is Dee's Land. Just checking everything, make sure I'm not missing anything. Shower spooks. That's right, Duke. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Glad you came in. MCAT, good to see you. Anybody else I've missed? Gemini, were you in here before? I don't know, but good to see you. Good to see you all. Excuse me, hold on. Sorry. Still froggy. Oh, there's a picture on this one. Okay, this is the story of a place called Crybaby Bridge. There's a story of a mother who lost her baby while the mother and father were fighting, and the baby was found at the bottom of the driveway where a bridge was. And as the mother was running to save her baby, the baby fell over the bridge. Oh, God, I hope that's not real. I mean, there's a lot of legendary stories around, but those are heartbreakers. To this day, you can hear the scream of the baby and its mother coming to save it. Whether or not it's true, I don't know. But I do now. I didn't know, but I do know now. My wife and I were there on October 5th, 2007, and took about 150 pictures and got nothing but orbs and got to hear some pretty spooky stories. We went back the next day mid-afternoon and took about 20 pictures and only came up with some beautiful scenery pictures, but we went back that night and wow, what an eerie night. I took about 142 pictures and came up with some orbs in about 4 of them, and this one particular was just creepy. It was about 9 p.m., around 68 degrees. After getting creeped out and after hearing a weird moaning sound, could have been a dog or an animal in my mind was playing tricks on me, I got back into the car and told my wife to get me out of here. And just as we were about to back out, I reached out the window and took one last picture. And when I looked at it, I saw this apparition and just knew that there had to be some truth to the story behind Crybaby Bridge in Salem, Ohio. Let's see what it looks like. That's a pretty good sized picture. That's curious, I guess. It's hard to know, but I'll put it up on the screen so you guys can see. I don't know. Strange. All right, let's get it up on there so everyone can look. So that's the photo that he took reaching out the window one last time. There is, there's clearly a mist of sorts there, but I don't know how far away it is from the camera. Could it be, if it was 68 degrees, I don't know. There seems to be a lot of fresh leaves on the ground, though, a lot of fresh fall leaves. Those aren't old leaves by the looks of it, so I don't know if they got their time right. Oh, he said it was October, so yeah. So it was October 5th of 2007. That very well just might be breath that was captured by the flash, and I'm not trying to, actively debunk this, but you can't discount that. If it was a cool fall night, then seeing your breath is pretty ordinary and pretty common. So I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what you think, but I don't know. There's just nothing in there that it looks like it to me. That mist looks like it's very close to the camera. In other words, you can almost see the particulates in the mist. And I don't think that that's just the grain of the picture, but I think that just demonstrates how close this was to the actual camera apparatus to capture with the flash. So there is a flash clearly because everything's lit up, including the barrier that's set up to keep people from driving on that road. So I think this is probably more likely a breath from the person as they have their arm out the window taking photos. So just my 2 cents, but I don't think what they captured here is anything paranormal. But on the other hand, I know a lot of people just want to believe, and I understand that, but it's, that's my 2 cents on it. So take it or leave it, but I think that's just a mist from the breath of the person taking the photo. You'll have to let me know what you think in the chat, but someone Haxer seriously sees a squid. Well, it's a wisp of steamy breath, or maybe smoke. You're right. It could be smoke. Aussie Tiger says, and you're right. It could be. I don't know if they're smokers or not, but it could certainly be that as well. But the whole wispy nature of a mist or a smoke. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. There's a whole lot of matrixing going on in a shot like that. So, but I don't know. I don't light up the moon, Jess, until the 2-hour shows. I've decided that's how I'm saving on batteries. So, because that thing eats batteries, it just chews them up and spits them out. So I'm gonna at least get a more of a return on investment. So during the bedtime stories, I just light up the 2 dragon sconces, the TV, and the on-air sign. On the 2-hour shows, I light it all up. It's like a damn party up in here. So we got a call, though. Let's see who's calling us tonight. This is area code 503. You're on the air with me.
Hey, Brent.
Hey.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you. Is this Travis?
It's Travis.
How you doing, brother?
Yep. Yes, sir. Good, man.
How's things?
So I remember you were talking yesterday about something that reminded me of something.
Okay.
That happened a few years ago. I was hanging out with a coworker at his apartment, and he had 2 kids and a girlfriend. Okay. And he was a pretty angry dude, internally. But he was really nice. Like, other than that, I mean, he had an attitude, but maybe it's because I was trying to be his friend, because I don't know. It kind of seemed like he needed one, so I was trying to be that guy for him. But he was super cool to me, and then I don't know. I could just tell that when we were hanging out at his place, that the home life was totally different than what I've seen. But I knew it was capable. He was capable of that. Does that make sense?
Sure.
The energy in his place was super heavy, like very, very heavy. Someone told me that I'm a what do you call it? You say empath.
Empathic, sure.
What's the
sensing the energy?
Intuitive empath. That's what she said.
Okay.
And I've always been really good at reading people and picking up on energies that are around me. I'm sure most people are.
No, I don't know.
But
it's a gift for sure.
Okay. So we were hanging out at his house, and it was really heavy energy, and we were playing video games, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw what looked like a very small swirling, probably the size of a penny, black hole, like spinning. And it was from my peripherals. It started to come into my view, and then when I turned to look at it, it was gone.
Oh.
And about 20 seconds after I saw that, I felt the energy change, and then he started like yelling at his kid about something.
Okay.
And I was thinking like, wow, that's a little overkill. You don't need to yell like that over something that's stupid. You know what I mean?
Right. No,
but you were saying something yesterday about that reminded me of that.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was.
Huh. Well, I'm just looking.
But yeah.
I'm just looking up what is the
Go for
meaning.
it.
What is the meaning of black orbs? Because I think what you saw is a black orb. Now, spirit orbs can come in many different colors, and they allegedly these colors represent something. But I didn't remember what black orbs were, so I'm looking it up now. And this is coming from a site called spiritualunite.com. It's just the top one on the article, but I thought I'd look at this and see what it was. Okay, so
Yeah.
it says light orbs are common phenomena. Many people see them in photography and videos, and they have taken and a quick Google image search for light orbs will return millions of results. These light orbs appear in a variety of colors and hues and can represent anything from spirit guides to the souls of the deceased. But black orbs are a little different by almost all accounts. Firstly, they rarely show up in photography. In fact, the vast majority of reported sightings of black orbs are with the naked eye rather than through the camera. Those that see them report going to the optometrist to get their eyes examined. Most say that their sight was perfect and their eyes are devoid of parasites, floaters, or the physical malformations. So what could these black orbs be? Black orbs can be seen as a warning sign from our spiritual guides. They may warn of a particular dense area of negative spiritual energy. Wow, is that dead on or what, huh? And they may warn of more physical dangers, such as dangerous terrain or the presence of a dangerous person or animal. If the sight of black orbs fills us with an inexplicable sense of dread, we would be best advised to obey our intuition and get away from there as quickly as possible. So, there you go. So what that might have been is a manifestation from your guide saying, hey, Travis, get the hell out of here. This guy's not okay.
Yeah. 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 That's crazy.
Right? I mean,
wow.
Your experience is a textbook for what I just read. I mean, it's, yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. So
word for word.
How's that for serendipity?
So check this out.
Okay.
That's insane. I got, that's trippy. Okay. So this correlates perfectly. The other night, probably a week ago, me and my girlfriend were laying in bed, and that puppy that was interrupting our phone call the other day was laying in bed with us. And my girlfriend started to like poke him, like trying to get a rise out of him.
Uh-huh.
And she was playing this frequency generator that would fluctuate from like low to high frequency.
Okay.
And when he perked his head up and was like, "Oh, what's that?" I could just tell that he was like not okay with it.
Okay.
And then check this out. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw that same black orb. And the dog, the puppy, jumped around complete 180 degrees and looked right at that spot and was like super nervously barking at it for about 2 minutes. Well, not 2 minutes, probably like 45 seconds. And I was like, babe, stop that. Like, that's not cool. You're messing with him. And he's obviously super upset about it. And then she stopped. And I don't know, man, from the first one I was talking about at my buddy's house, this one was way more intense, way more intense. I could almost sense that there was a being to that thing.
Right.
And I remember when I'd be after that, it slowly dissipated. And then we'd be laying in bed the same night, and I would start to like think about it and think about the feeling that it gave me. And then that feeling would grow.
Yeah.
And then I could notice that the dog was starting to get uncomfortable. And then I like had to mentally like be like, no, that is not okay. Unacceptable. Get out of my trailer.
Good.
And then it went away.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I really,
and then the dog was totally fine.
I think that these negative haunts, they start out with, just moments. And it's like a war of attrition kind of thing. So they try to, break you down over time. But good for you for maintaining your ground and realizing and
Like a
recognizing when that energy shifted.
yeah, it's like a foot in the door for them, I'd imagine.
Right. That's what I would equate it to too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I really agree with that. Because every seriously profound haunting starts with silly stuff. It starts with little things, and a good example of that, even though it's a movie, it really does kind of, even though it's a dramatization, it does kind of illustrate the process. Look at the movie Poltergeist. Starts out as just this.
I haven't seen it.
The old Poltergeist. Oh my god, dude, you got to check it out. It's a good movie.
I don't watch a whole lot of TV.
Well, I don't either, but that's just one of those really cool shows. But it was actually based loosely on some true cases and stuff, and there's a lot of embellishment and stuff going on, clearly, but it starts out real fun and light, and then the next thing the daughter's getting sucked into the TV kind of thing, so you got to push those things out right away for sure, and so that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Absolutely, man. Excellent. It was weird because like you could just tell that that's the best way I can think of it to describe it, is like it sees an opportunity and it sticks its foot in the door, and you have to like slam their foot, cut their foot off with the door kind of thing.
Right, exactly.
Just like, no, that is totally not acceptable.
Right. And if it
and then you have to like, you can't, if you think about it, it just like it keeps putting its foot back. So you gotta like you gotta be really, really strong with your mind. I think.
No, I think you're right. I believe you're right on track with that, and I would suggest too, if it continues to come back or to try to come back, do the smudging or saging in the house, and sweetgrass and sage, and after you're done, definitely do it in such a way that you're starting on one end of the house, and then the other end of the house leave a window cracked, and you're basically pushing that energy out to go through that window and get out. And then, smudge seal that window and close it, and then go around the perimeter of the outside of the house and lay some sea salt. And that may or may not resonate with a lot of people. And again, I don't mean to prescribe spiritual practices to people, but this one is pretty much as old as time. It's been used, almost since the Stone Age. Salt has always been a real powerful deterrent to negative energies, and sage has been used in every prehistoric or Stone Age and shamanic tradition, all the way up into the, to modern practitioners. So there's a reason for that. So, and it doesn't speak to anybody's religion or your faith. It's just, look at it how you want. If you're Christian, just understand that God gave us tools, and we need to recognize the natural world is full of those tools. If you're, whatever your beliefs are, just, find a way to ascribe those to those, because these things were brought here as well for a reason.
Yep.
Well, cool.
I had a question. I don't mean to take up.
No. It's all you.
I'm really curious to hear what you think.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so you remember me telling you about that time a while ago with the bad dudes that I ran into?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it's possible, if that bad energy is something that can stick around, or do you think it's something that is just kind of free floating around everywhere, and then if it sees an opportunity close by, it jumps on it real quick? Well, you know what I mean?
It could very well be both. I mean, it's not necessarily one or the other. But I think that they can, generally those kind of things seem to stay attached to at least an area where there's enough of that energy to subsist on, because for some reason they seem to draw from negative energy. So those bad dudes probably introduced you to something. I mean, obviously they weren't in a good place, those guys. they were all kinds of broken, and as far as people are concerned.
Absolutely.
So, and then I'm sure that that's what is eventually to led up to you seeing, that thing over the hospital. So, but again, you reclaimed it, you pushed it out, and just be diligent, because if a negative entity is fixated on you, if a negative energy is
Yes, sir.
fixated on you, it has nothing but time. So don't get complacent.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, brother.
All right, Brent. I'll get off the phone. Thanks for your time.
Anytime, brother. Thanks for calling in and being part of the show.
So yeah, have a good one. Happy Wednesday coming up.
All right, see you then. All right, guys. Well, that was really cool. It's always good to hear from you guys, and that's why we got the phone lines. Anybody wants to call in, I don't care if you call every night. If you got something to say, I'm willing to talk. It makes me happy. It gives me that warm, fuzzy feeling inside when you guys call in. So, but anyway, guys, I just want to tell you it's been a blast as always. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate that. And Lori says great advice. Oh, that's sweet. I don't know. I don't claim to know this all. I don't have all the answers, but I've got a few ideas, and I'm willing to share them with you guys. So I hope that I don't offend anybody by that, but it's just, I don't want anybody to be tormented by anything dark. And if I have some kind of knowledge that might help with that, I'm going to share it. And if it doesn't apply to you, if it doesn't fit, if you don't like what I'm saying, please just tune it out. I'm not trying to change anybody's ideas or beliefs or anything. I just want you guys to be happy and safe, and to not be bothered by the dark things. So I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and laugh as much as you're able. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow night. Don and I will be back. And remember, Friday night, Mrs. Deborah Varner will be joining us here on the portal for free psychic readings to callers of the show. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure to get on the line as quickly as you can and hold the line for as long as you're able, because we will get to your call as soon as we are able. So, all right, guys, love you, and we'll see you tomorrow night.